I'll tell you what I've been thinking about while everybody was talking about this, and even what you were just saying, Haroon. That is one of the things I loved about Landmark is they do just keep pointing out, you're making whatever you're making of it. It doesn't mean that that's what it is. I thought that was the coolest part about Landmark. But really, what it made me think about is one of the simplest, probably most direction changing activities that I've coached on all the years that I learned that changed my life. And then, of course, it made such an impact. I coach on it. It's the blank piece of paper. Michael Gerber has done this thing called the Dreaming Room for over 30 years. And it's like a 3-day transformation event. And I remember the first time I went, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be with Gerber 3 days. What do I need? What's my workbook? What do I need to prepare for? And he's like, there is no preparation. Just show up. And all they hand you is a blank notebook at the beginning of the 3 days. And that thing is full. It's one of those big long art, uh, ring binder to the top, open up, wide angle notebooks, and you're just writing stuff the whole time. And what made me think of that is, you're talking about the past, even though you don't want to thrive on the past has made us who we are. We're not given more than we can handle. Everything that happens to us makes us stronger. It forms who we are. It forms our opinions. It forms our ideas. Now, granted, we might be getting some shit thrown in there, mixed in with it. But overall, it has made us who we are. And when you sit down with a blank piece of paper and you just start writing what 5 years or 10 years from now looks like, and creating your vision, your purpose, your mission in life, and you start with a blank sheet of paper, and you even write your perfect A paper that I talk about is just like writing the ultimate story is you 10 years from now. If I haven't seen you for 5 or 10 years and I bump into you, I'm like, oh my God, Tony, what have you been doing? I haven't seen you in forever. And you just start describing where you wouldn't believe it, Brad. I mean, it is, we have this and that and empires and whatever it is for you, you've created what that 10-year from now looks like. And Gerber has you pull out of that mission, vision, purpose. And those are all the core things that start even a business or a franchise or an empire, are those things. So it just made me think that blank piece of paper exercise, you get to keep the past, which it's not keep the bad, it's to not forget it because it's made you who you are, but yet you're really focusing on the positive of where you're going and not letting that stuff hold you back. And because you're definitely not going to write into this what's going to go wrong and all the bad things that are going to happen to you and how you're going to deal with it. So anyway, that's kind of what dropped on my mind today as we were going through it. It's like, man, the blank piece of paper. When was the last time you did that? Where you just took it out and wrote and wrote and wrote and just write as detailed, descriptive what your life looks like 10 years from now.
That is a powerful exercise for sure, and I think that's one that everyone should do. But I'm going to go back to what you said in the very beginning, and because this is true, we're all meaning makers. Our minds create meaning. We're meaning makers, every one of us. But here's the thing to remember. I learned this one a long time ago from Tony Robbins, and it's so freaking true. And it's this: nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it. I'm going to say that again for those in the back. Nothing has meaning except the meaning you give it. Meaning that your perspective, not only what you see, but how you see it, the lens from which you see it, from the position that you are, has everything to do with what you're going to interpret. And when you're at a different position in life, perhaps you can look back on that same thing and see that the meaning you gave it didn't really apply at all. It was just a perspective that you had at the time, and your mind gave it a meaning based on where you were in life and how you felt. I know I've certainly had the occasion to look back and say, what the was I thinking? How could I even thought that or imagined that, right? Because we're the ones that give meaning to things. We are meaning makers. So it's about getting our head right, our psychology right, so that we can maybe better understand why we do and say. And that's why, the whole journey of personal development that I talk about often. And, I get into the 6 human needs or the Maslow's hierarchy of needs, however you've heard it, however you want to understand it. And it's this, because once you can understand who you are, why you do, say, act, and react the way you do, then it's better, it's easier to understand others, and it's easier to give meaning to things or understand other people and why perhaps they even saw it that way, right? But just remember that we're all meaning makers, and nothing really has meaning except the meaning we give it. One thing can happen, and you talk to 10 people, and they understand, feel, or believe something different, even though maybe there'll be 4 or 5 different opinions or points of view, but there will be varying points of view from 10 different people looking at things from different perspectives, different points of view, different heights, different times of day, perhaps seeing the same thing, and their emotional state when they were seeing it. So there's a lot to unpack there. But yeah, we're the ones that give meaning to everything that happens in our lives. But thanks for that, Brad.